Hey, I'm Jennifer Bourget from Cherish365.com, and if you have one of these fancy DSLRs lying around, or maybe you just got one for the holidays, for Christmas, for Black Friday, and you're excited to take pictures, but did you know there's this cool little tool on here to do video too? Today, I'm going to be giving you some tips on breaking into shooting video on your DSLR. Alright, so the first tip I'm going to give you is contrary to most of the photography tips I usually tell you, and that is to switch your camera to auto mode. Normally, I like to shoot my pictures in full manual, and I have some other videos with tips on gradually getting yourself to shoot in manual mode. But when I'm doing video and I'm going inside, outside, going around different places in my house, and constantly the lighting is adjusting, it's just easier for me to keep my camera in auto mode. Or if I do want a little bit of control, particularly on how much depth is in the background, like if you're shooting around Christmas lights and you want to do some creative focusing, which we'll get to in just a minute, then I might switch to AV mode, which is aperture priority mode. And it's another way that you can have a little more control, but your camera is still doing the other settings for you. It can adjust the ISO, exposure, your shutter speed, and things like that. It's going to make sure that your exposure level is right where it needs to be so the video isn't too bright or too dim. So I would say shoot in AV mode or just go in full auto. It's totally okay with video. I'm breaking the rules a little bit and I'm saying go with auto mode. The next tip I have for you is to choose your lens wisely. Now, if you've ever shot some video on your DSLR before and you've noticed like a weird loud noise in the background as your camera is trying to focus on you, maybe you're kind of moving in and out, or your kids are running around and it's trying to focus on them, and your camera's seeming to have trouble focusing, or it's making a loud noise and maybe it's a little distracting. It's probably your lens, depending what lens you're using. I recommend getting a STM lens. Now, if you have the Canon T7i or the 80D, the EOS 80D, then both of those, chances are you probably got them with like a kit lens. The 18 to 55 millimeter EFS lens has STM, which is Canon stepper motor technology. So that allows it to have smooth focusing when you're doing video mode. You're not going to get that loud noise in the background. If you already have a kit lens, you're looking for another one to try out, I recommend the EF 50 millimeter 1.8 lens. It also has STM, so you're going to get that nice smooth focusing, and your f-stop can go down. It can open up wider, so if you want to do more low light video or get more videos with less depth, you know, you have that nice blur in the background, then that 50 millimeter lens is great for that. Once you get that lens on, just switch it to autofocus. Don't worry about manual messing around with that. Autofocus is going to be the trick that you want to use. You can just touch the back of the screen, focus where you want it to be. We'll get more into that in just a little bit in another tip with creative focusing, but you don't have to worry about manual focus. Just let your camera do the work and have fun with it. Next tip, don't be afraid to get creative with your shooting and with your video. So when you're in autofocus and your camera's doing the work for you, you can actually touch the screen and tell your camera where you want it to focus, what subject you want it to focus on. So it can focus on faces. You can tap your kid's face, and if they move from one side of the screen to the other, it's gonna follow them and focus on them. Or if you're zoomed in really close, getting a close-up of the Christmas lights, and then you wanna focus on your kid that's just behind the lights, and then you touch the screen and your lens is automatically gonna focus on them. You're gonna get a nice pretty rack focus. That's what it's called, a rack focus. You're not having to finagle with it and remember which way to turn your lens if you were in manual mode. Another thing, this variangle screen, it's awesome. You can like set it down low, flip it up, you can flip it the other direction. Like, get creative with it. Set it on the ground. You know, if your kids are swinging outside, sledding, doing something like that, you can flip the screen around, hold it above them, hold it below them. You're not confined to, you know, how high you can stand or how low you can get down. You can actually just flip the screen and kind of set your camera down and then see exactly what shot you're getting. Another thing I love about it is you can get in the video too, because you can prop your camera up on a shelf over to the side, flip the screen over so you can make sure you're in the shot, and there you go, mom's in the video too. Another creative tool I suggest trying out is time-lapse mode. So while you're in video mode, you can actually switch and change the settings of a time-lapse and create a time-lapse video in your camera. So you don't have to worry about taking 400 pictures and stringing them and editing them together later. Your camera can do that all for you. It's a great tool to use if you want to do a time-lapse video of maybe setting up the Christmas tree, decorating the tree. I did a time-lapse video with my daughter when we were making some Muddy Buddy Christmas treats to pass out to some neighbors. We just set the camera up, told it to take a bunch of pictures. We told it the interval to do it, and it strung the videos together for us. Easy peasy, super fun and creative. It's another way to play with video on your camera that maybe you didn't know about. Another important tip to remember when you're shooting video is to get a variety of shots. We talked about getting creative shots, you know, different angles you could take video at, but also you want to take it from different focal lengths. You want to zoom in, get a lot of tight shots. Don't just get wide shots. You want to get wide, medium, and tight shots. Now, a rule that I remembered when I was learning how to shoot video when I was in broadcasting school was when you're doing video, you want to get wide, medium, tight, tight, tight. It's a sequence. So let's say you're in the room, your family's doing an activity, you get a wide shot, you get a medium shot of it, and then 3 tight shots. All of that same activity, and then when you edit it together later, it makes a nice little sequence there. So for those tight shots, I like using a macro lens. I have an ES 100mm macro lens that I love. It can get really close in on those subjects. It focuses great, it has image stabilization. I love it. There's some other macro lenses. I have a whole post listing off different lens recommendations that I'll link to in my YouTube description box. But I suggest playing around with different lenses and seeing what they can do. The more fun you're gonna have with it and the more creative you can really get with your videos and make them really stand out and be unique. And the final tip I have for you is about storytelling. When you're recording these videos, you are capturing a moment, you're capturing a story. So think about that when you're doing the video. What's the beginning of this? What's the middle? What's the end? What moment are you capturing? Are you ringing in the new year as a family? Are you celebrating a birthday? Are you celebrating Christmas morning, opening gifts? Are you making cookies together? What is the story that you're trying to tell with this video? If you think about it that way, think of it as having a clear beginning, middle, and end. It's all gonna come together so well while you're filming, while you're editing later on, and then it's gonna be a beautiful production that you and your family will enjoy looking back on later. So those are all the tips I have for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment and I will reply back to all of them. Hopefully you found this helpful so you can not only take great pictures of your family, but you can get some good video of them as well. Thanks for watching.